I'm coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Got to do Monday Night Football tonight. Monday Night Countdown to be specific. I got to go over to SoFi. Hopefully the Eagles won't stink up the joint. They'll handle their business tonight. Definitely got to do that. Got a lot of NFL stuff to get into because we saw what transpired over there in Baltimore yesterday with Pittsburgh, in Buffalo yesterday against Cincinnati, in Green Bay yesterday against Chicago. There's a lot of stuff to get into, no doubt about that. We'll be talking NFL, but the story of the weekend is college football. And the college football playoff selections, we've seen what transpired. We saw that Alabama get romped by Georgia in the SEC title game, but still didn't budge 1 inch from their 9th ranking, and as a result ended up in the playoffs. And, of course, the big story is that the Notre Dame Fighting Irish will not be in the college football playoffs, which is why I'm going to veer left, because usually I do my opening monologue and then I get to guest. But anytime we've got a special guest, that takes precedent. And sitting right next to me here in Los Angeles, California, is a former linebacker for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, drafted in the 2nd round in the NFL draft back in 2013, if I remember correctly, doing an outstanding job. Not a good job, but an outstanding job on the NFL Network. I mean, he's trying to take my job. He's trying to take my job. I'm talking about the one and only Manti Te'o. What's going on, my man? How's everything going,
What's up,
man?
brother?
It's good to see you. How's
it's an
everything?
honor to be here, my man.
Man, honored to have you. You are doing an outstanding job. You really are on the NFL Network. Everybody should watch you. You're doing a great, great job.
Thank you.
Your future is bright in this industry. But let's get right to it, my man. Notre Dame, your alma mater, did not make the college football playoffs. Was that the right decision made by the college football selection playoff selection committee?
In my opinion, no.
Okay,
I don't think, Stephen A., you follow this game very, very closely. You can't tell me that Notre Dame is not a top 12 team in college football. Okay. The way that they played, I know we have the first 2 losses of the season were to good teams in Miami and Texas A&M. But the way that Marcus Freeman has gotten those young men to play, both offensively and defensively, you can't tell me that those 12 teams in this college football playoff this year, that Notre Dame isn't in that category, in that equation. That's something that I don't agree with. But again, I'm not the one that makes the decisions. Mm-hmm. And if I was the one to make the decision, the Fighting Irish would be in there.
Well, let me push back on you a little bit with what you're saying. Number one, first of all, I do believe Notre Dame is one of the top 12 teams in the nation. But you and I both know highway robbery is synonymous with college football. We all know this. Let's not act like that's new to any of us, okay? Right. Every single year. Last year, Alabama was complaining about how it was left out. Miami was complaining about how it was left out. This year, here's the deal. Your Notre Dame, you had 2 losses. One of them was head-to-head against Miami. Albeit August 31st, it was still a head-to-head matchup that you lost to the Miami Hurricanes. Don't you think that needs to play a role in the selection committee's decision?
For sure. And I don't think that for Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans, it's Miami that people are too worried about. It's the Alabama thing that people are worried about. I think also, if you take into consideration what Coach Marcus Freeman said, it is the best 12 teams today. Mm-hmm. It's not the best 12 teams in September. Mm-hmm. And if you look at how the season has played out, mm-hmm. the Notre Dame Fighting Irish team that lined up against Miami in Hard Rock Stadium, it isn't the same Notre Dame team that lined up against Stanford and Palo Alto. Mm-hmm. And so if you take that also into consideration, you got to look at it. And if you want the best tournament, you have to put the best teams in the tournament. Listen, Stephen A., this isn't March Madness. Mm-hmm. You don't have upsets like you have in basketball. This is college football, okay, right? You're not going to have somebody go up in there and beat Georgia just because, right? You want to have Notre Dame or one of those Penn States or the Ohio States come up in there and actually have one of those games that we all are tuned into.
What about the argument that Alabama rolled up into the SEC title game Saturday night with 2 losses, just like Notre Dame? One of those wins that they had was against Georgia on the road in Athens. This is a top 3 team in the nation that you took out on their home turf just a few weeks earlier. In this SEC championship game that they were in, Notre Dame was sitting at home watching because they ain't in the conference. And as a result, they were sitting home, chilling out, watching. Lord knows what they was eating. I'm assuming it was healthy food. But nevertheless, they were watching. They weren't playing while Alabama was subjected to Georgia getting a second shot at them. Why should that be held against them at the, for the benefit of Notre Dame?
For the same reason why you held it against BYU, that they lost to Texas Tech. That's the same reason why. You can't punish one and not punish the other. And I think that when you think about the SEC is one of the best, if not the best, conferences in all of college football. But I think sometimes the SEC gets that nod because of the type of talent that they develop there, that if you do get a loss there, it's almost like, hey, it's okay, as to, in comparison, if you lose in the Big 12 or in any other conference in college football, you don't have that same amount of grace where, like a team like BYU, you're going up against Texas Tech, but you get blown out that way. They get penalized, but a team like Alabama doesn't. I think that's where people see a little bit of controversy there.
So basically, you're saying there's some favoritism on the part of the SEC.
I mean, come on, Stephen A.
I'm just asking. But no, I'm going someplace. If that's how you feel, why the hell hasn't Notre Dame joined the SEC? I'm quite sure they take everybody else.
Well,
Damn. I mean, look at the teams that got added to the SEC. How come Notre Dame just didn't join to the elite conference? Why do they have to stand on the sidelines being an independent? Maybe if they joined a conference. Oh, by the way, they're in a conference, the ACC, in every other sport other than football. I mean, they know what they're doing, and that strategy has worked for them in the past. This is the one time it has appeared to burn them.
Well, there's both sides to this thing, right? Everybody looks at Notre Dame not being a part of a conference as an advantage.
Okay.
It is also a disadvantage because we don't have that automatic conference playoff berth. We don't have that. So it's not about just who you beat, but it's how you beat them. Right. And that's what weighs heavily when you consider somebody like Notre Dame. Now, that is above my pay grade. Yeah, you can't. If you're at Notre Dame and you don't have a conference championship game, they also look at your body of work and not just who you beat, but how you beat them.
But you're sounding like that's a reason to celebrate them. I'm telling you, that's a reason to malign them. Because when you look at Notre Dame right now compared to Alabama, Alabama was ranked 11th in strength of schedule this year. Notre Dame was number 42, bruh. 42.
Stephen A,
42.
Stephen A, what is strength of schedule based on?
Strength to the quality of opponents.
Based on what year?
What do you mean based on what year? The previous year?
Previous year.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
20, this is 2025.
That's right.
Right. So that's the fault with strength of schedule, is we're going off of what happened last year. We're talking about an Alabama team that is playing teams that did well last year. If we went off of last year, Notre Dame played a national championship last year. So that, again, strength of schedule, I always look at that term with some caution. Right, it's when we went to the national championship my senior year, we had, according to strength of schedule, the toughest schedule in college football. But then all of those teams that we played, Oklahoma, Miami, USC, they started to lose throughout that 2012 season. And then all of a sudden, because we beat them and they didn't have good season, people say, oh, Notre Dame had a soft schedule. That wasn't the case back in August.
Here's the disadvantage that we're here in front of a little studio audience here in L.A. It's a nice setup here at SiriusXM. Really, really appreciate them bringing us together. I got the one and only man, Tateo, sitting right next to me right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, SiriusXM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. And you're talking, and you're forgetting that I watch you and that I know you know your football. So here's my thing to you. While you were talking, I took the liberty of looking up that schedule that you just alluded to. And you said that it was based on last year, and that's why they should be penalized, stuff like that. Okay, so you got Miami, and you got Texas A&M, who you lost to 41-40. Highly competitive game, very entertaining. I watched that from start to finish. Let me throw out some of these other schools, these last 10 weeks that you won by an average of 29.7 points. Let me throw that out there, okay? Purdue. Arkansas.
Wait, what conference is Arkansas?
Arkansas is SEC. You beat them 56-13, by the way, so you really annihilated them. Boise State. You know, with the blue field. The blue field. That's the only blue football field in America.
Ashton Jenkins was going crazy on that field a year ago.
Well, he ain't doing it now, so let's bring him up. My condolences to him and what's happening to him in Las Vegas. What goes on in Vegas needs to stay the hell in Vegas, as they say, especially what's going on with the Raiders right now. North Carolina State, USC. All right, we ain't heard from Lincoln Riley in 2 years. I mean, damn, they're a good team, but ranked 20th. We expected more from Lincoln Riley. Okay, Boston College.
Hey, we always play them.
Navy.
Always play them.
Navy. We appreciate their service to our country. Okay, let's say that. Okay, all right, but we ain't talking football though. All right, Pittsburgh. College football game day showed up. Everybody showed up in the house. Reese Davis, Pat McAfee, Coach Saban, Kirk Herbstreit, my man Desmond Howard, and it was supposed to be a big deal, and Notre Dame romped them, okay? They were ranked 23 at the time. You got Syracuse and Stanford. That's your schedule.
Okay.
You Notre Dame.
We line
you're
them
independent.
up, and we knock them
but
down,
you're Notre
bro.
Dame. You're independent, which means you basically set your schedule. You could have had some other schools up on here in the months of October, late October, and throughout November. You could have had a better schedule. You Notre Dame.
So with Notre Dame, you have to understand, as far as this conference talk, we have so many different teams who we have iconic matchups against. Unfortunately, one of the teams that we don't play anymore is the University of Michigan, which in my opinion is one of the best rivalries in college football.
Okay.
So there are so many different teams in conferences. USC once been Pac-12, now Big 12. Then you got Michigan. Now you have Navy, Purdue. All of these teams, Navy, one of the oldest rivalries in all of college football. It's hard for us to be football-wise in a conference and still respect all of these big games. And so traditionally and historically, I also think that Notre Dame does have to play certain teams. But to your point, Stephen, I do see that there are opponents that we could play, but we did play everybody from different conferences. So I at the end of the day, I don't know what else is expected from us. I saw something this morning. I think people expect us to play Alabama first game, Georgia next game, Ohio State the other game, then go to USC, then you go to Texas A&M, Texas, and just play big dogs all the way down, and maybe that will appease the crowd. But again, it's Notre Dame.
I think it's because of your independence, and y'all are independent with everything else that's advantageous for y'all. Y'all make sure y'all ain't got to share any money when you get it because you ain't got a conference. You obviously dictate your schedule. You got your own television. There's no school that has its own isolated television contract, but y'all NBC. Okay, so we got all of this going on. All right, fair enough, right? Let me get to the athletic director because he was on Dan Patrick's show this morning. I think his name is Pete Bavacqua, right?
Yep.
Right. And he had some interesting things to say to Dan Patrick this morning, essentially saying that they're not pleased at all with how the ACC essentially campaigned against Notre Dame being in the playoffs. They went out of their way. And, again, I'm not quoting him directly because I don't have their direct quote in front of me. But that's essentially what he alluded to and basically said, considering the relationship we have with them in every other sport, we take this very, very personally. And, he indicated that irreparable harm has been done to this relationship with the ACC. Do you agree with him on that?
Well, honestly, I don't know all of the details into what happened, right? As far as what the ACC was saying in regards to Notre Dame not being in the playoffs. But what I do know is Bavacqua understands the weight that the Notre Dame logo and the Notre Dame brand does have. And if you would speak about Notre Dame in a certain way, especially if we have affiliations with you, with historically us being an independent, if we do make that certain commitment to you, I think that there is an expectation that that will be reciprocated at some degree.
Right.
And so if you harm Notre Dame in a certain way, I think Pete has all right to come out and say, hey, this isn't what we signed up for.
Man, you special, bro. I mean, let me tell you something right now. I hope everybody at Notre Dame is as loyal as you are. I mean, listen, I don't know what to say. I will say this to you. When I look at what the ACC was doing, first of all, let's not throw, roses in Notre Dame's direction, acting like they do so much for the ACC. The reality is that the other sports that are participants, with the ACC, I mean, it's nice to have Notre Dame in there, but essentially it's not like you need it. What are we talking about here, okay? I mean, the basketball program is decent. What are we talking about here? Volleyball? I mean, is there a lacrosse program that I didn't know about? I mean, I don't know, but I'm saying to you, football is the creme de la creme.
Yes.
And Notre Dame's going to do business with the ACC, but not with football. They wanted to remain independent. The ACC has an opportunity to push for Miami to get in because Miami is on a bubble because they ain't in the conference championship game. That's Virginia, who's ranked 17th, which was 5 spots behind Miami. And Duke ain't even ranked because they got 5 losses, but they in the ACC championship game. So the ACC is seeing Miami and they're saying, man, we got a chance. Let's push for them. and not for Notre Dame, because Notre Dame ain't representing our conference. They don't engage in revenue sharing with us. Why would we push for that? So I think for Vacqua, I'm just saying to myself, look, you don't understand business. Y'all conduct business better than anybody in college football. One would even argue.
He understands business from Notre Dame's standpoint, and that's
That's
where
right.
he has to stand, right? And I also understand, and you know this from your other shows, Stephen A. You also have to understand the perspective of the other side, which is the ACC,
Sure.
and they have to stand up for what they know is right and what represents them. And so when it comes to the table, you have Notre Dame, who is not only I'll say this on your show, Notre Dame is a global brand. We're not just a national brand.
Okay.
Like it's you take that interlocking ND, and you've traveled around the world. I've traveled around the world. That interlocking ND is recognized everywhere.
Okay.
Right? You weigh that with what the ACC has. I do not fault the ACC for trying to stand on what they have to stand on, but you also have to respect that People of Vacqua knows who he represents and what he represents and the tone at which he has to come at it.
I got you. Talking to Manti Te'o right here with Stephen A. SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's get to some NFL stuff, which is what you're doing all the time. And again, outstanding job on the NFL Network. Major props to you for that. What stood out to you yesterday? Was it Green Bay beating Chicago? Was it the